traitors to the Jewish people as well as to the national interest. Yeah. And Wasserman Schultz and these people. You're seeing this already. The only thing is, Jews didn't help the Nazis.
Well, that is not true. How can you say that the Jews didn't help the Nazis? That is totally inaccurate. Of course, there were people against their own people that were helping the Nazis just to survive, because there's good and bad people in every nation. But the Nazis, number one, Adolf Hitler was sponsored by the Rothschild family, and they're Jewish. But obviously, these are the Jews of Satan, not the godly Jews. Yeah, there's a big difference. Now, Adolf Eichmann. Is it Eichmann or Himmler now? I keep confusing both of them. But the one that was executed in Israel, he was a Jew. And then it is rumored that Hitler's father was a Rothschild that impregnated the young mother of Hitler that was 15 or 16 at the time. She was a maid in the Rothschild mansion, and it is also rumored that anything that moved and that was female in the house of Rothschild could simply not get away without him having a go at it. Well, of course, this is I've read this a few times. I don't know if this is true. And then she got married to somebody from Austria, and Hitler was born. Now, the Jews don't consider the children of non-Jewish mother to be Jewish. They don't consider that, which is actually very strange, because inheritance comes from father, not mother, because it's all about the bloodlines, and the bloodline only father gives, not mother. So when you have only daughters, your bloodline literally dies in front of your eyes, because those daughters are going to marry, of course, men. And so it's going to be their continuation of their bloodline, unless you let your daughters marry the cousins. That means children of your brother. Yeah, that is obviously that is possible. I'm not against cousins marrying. I think that's fine. I mean, I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, should be fine. Unless maybe not, because they have the same blood. So I know that cousins do marry, and I know this is not a sin, but I don't really know how it works with the cousins and the bloodlines, whether it's second cousins and so on. I'm just saying that, let's say if there are two brothers and one brother has 3 sons and the other one has 3 daughters, well, those girls have the bloodline of their father, the blood, and those boys have the blood of their father, and this is the same blood. So that's what I'm saying. Now, if there's a brother that has 3 daughters and there is his sister that has 3 sons, then it's different blood, because the sister marries somebody outside, and then it's different blood. But anyway, I didn't mean to talk about that as such. So this is totally inaccurate, and it's like, yeah, I know there's nobody perfect on earth, but to see somebody like Jacob Prash lacking discernment in this is quite sad, because I started to listen to him recently, like a few months ago. I knew about him like 2-3 years ago. And I obviously do like him. I like what he says. I'm sure he is 70-80% right, but there's always that something missing, and that's what I'm thinking. When am I gonna come across somebody that is, let's say, 99-95%? I don't know if that's gonna happen. I just see the higher you fly for God, the more you get attacked by Satan. And yes, somebody like Jacob Prash, Chris LaSala, yes, and many others, they do get attacked a lot by Satan, which is obviously normal, but I'm just thinking you have to be smart to Satan's devices. So, and concerning Jacob Prash, like he's also quite well informed when it comes to politics. So to say something like this, that the Jews didn't help the Nazis, is like, wow, hold on here. I mean, personally, I know somebody who is Jewish. Well, I knew him, an old man, and he was fascinated with Hitler. And I've seen once, I remember, a movie, Israeli movie, and they went to watch a cinema about, to watch a movie about, no, it wasn't actually cinema, it was like a theater thing, where it was the Nazis and the Jews, and it was like, not the one showing horrible things, but like it was like not a comedy, but like some kind of art. So I don't know what's going on there, but yes, the Jews obviously is the Jews that basically sponsored the war, the First and Second World War, which are the Rothschilds. And the head people, like the Nazis, the Gestapos, they were also Jews, but they're the Jews of the synagogue of Satan. Now, I'm not saying all of them were. Not sure about Heinrich Himmler, whether he was a Jew. I know the Goebbels, the man, he was Jewish. And by the way, Stalin and Lenin, they were Jews. So, what's going on here? So it's like, come on, know your history. And basically, what I'm trying to say as well is that without even knowing history, like Michael Jackson said, history, forget about it because they're teaching you lies.
Schumer.
So you have to know this. The wisdom of God, the love for truth, you know how the world runs, yeah? You will not know everything 100%, of course. Like we haven't eaten the whole wisdom of this world, but we follow a God, a creator, and he gives us wisdom. So yes, and we just know these things, and I'm not going to apologize for the things I know, just because most of the Christians are a pure joke and they completely submit to the state and so on. Now, you said another thing. So yeah, concerning the Jews and so on, please inform yourself. Yes, obviously the Jews are God's chosen people. He started with them, he will finish with them. I never thought that the Christians have replaced the Jews, like so many claim. But I always say what a Jew figures out in 1 hour would take a lifetime for a Gentile to figure out. So they rule the world, they always have. They basically camouflage as non-Jews. They mix with other races, whether it's Chinese or African. And if there's an African leader and they can't control him, they send him a Jewish woman that could be also a bit mixed, maybe with black or a bit, I don't know, or she couldn't, maybe not, but anyway, they sent him so that this is a Jewish mother and the children are Jewish then. Well, I believe that the Jewish mother thing, I believe that is of Satan, because mother doesn't give you a bloodline. Mother doesn't give you a bloodline. Okay, just wait. Okay, so I need to still look into that, but I'm not sure if it has something to do with Jesus because his mother was Jewish. Yeah, I heard once this program about these Jews that were supposed to answer what Jesus means for them and so on. So one said like, well, yes, Jesus was Jewish because he was from a Jewish mother. Well, yes, because the mother was from the bloodline of King David, but Jesus didn't have a father. So that's exactly, it's not about the mother. She was just a vessel for bearing Mary, but she was of the bloodline of King David. So it must have been from King David. There were only sons, and until the last son, which was the grandfather of Jesus, he had Mary, and she had the blood of the son, which was going all to all the sons until King David. So that's why. But Jesus didn't have blood. Well, his blood was from God, pure. So he didn't have like he didn't have, because again it comes to in blood there's blessings and curses, and demons travel via blood. Jesus didn't have that. So basically he didn't have a father, he didn't have a blood from a father. But to say that Jewishness comes from a mother, I always felt like this is a joke. Yes, ideally you should have both mother and father Jewish because God is a God of order. Ideally we should not intermix like crazy, like it's happening today. Well, it happens, it's not the end of the world, but it just causes a lot of chaos and unhappiness and confusion in children and unforgiveness with parents and siblings and cousins and society. It's just not good. I believe it can be even salvation issue. If people don't repent, that doesn't mean people are racist. It's just that people always like to stick to their own, like Muhammad Ali says. And I believe that's natural. And it's funny how if, let's say, a Chinese person or an Arab says they want to stay within their own race, it's fine. But if a white person says that, then no, that's not fine. And they're labeled racist. Now, that's just a side note I meant to add. So yeah, concerning Jewishness, I'm repeating it again the third time. I think it's just from the father, not the mother. Because it doesn't make any sense. Because if you look at the Old Testament, it's the sons of him, the sons of that man, never says a woman. So I don't know whether it goes to Abraham and Sarah and Hagar. These were Muslims, these were Jews. I have to look into that, but I don't think that Jewishness comes from a mother. I believe this is a tradition. The Jews are all about the traditions. Obviously, they crucified Jesus Christ, the Messiah, because of the love of traditions. And many will see that, which is amazing. In Jacob's trouble, many already have. We have the one for Israel. We have the Messianic Jews, which is amazing, but the fact is a fact. Them together with Romans, they did crucify Jesus, and they, because they love the tradition, and they basically, it's like Jesus made it the law for the people, but the people kind of like they worship almost the law, like Jesus exposed that, and they didn't like that. So basically, yeah. Okay, never mind. I don't want to go into that too much.
And Schiff and Nadler and Feinstein and Wasserman Schultz and Blumenthal, they're more than happy to.
More than happy.
That's the difference.
Yeah,
That's the difference.
Yeah, and you mentioned these guys, Jacob, and of course, first thing they do, they call for the 25th Amendment to be.
Okay, another thing I just remembered now. Henry Kissinger, wasn't he a friend of Hitler? And also, what did he say? Didn't he say that you control the oil, you control that? Nations, you control the food, you control the people. Come on, they're the rulers. So please do not say things like, well, the word like racism and anti-Semitism has been invented anyway by somebody from the synagogue of Satan. I know that the word anti-Semitism was invented by an old Jew, quite possibly a satanic one, a Jew of Satan, just to basically, when people expose the truth, like I'm doing now, they call it anti-Semitic. But no, I believe my grandfather was Jewish, actually. I'm not sure about my grandmother, but that will be my mother's side, which doesn't matter anyway because my father is not Jewish. My father is Polish. So I'm the bloodline of the Polish people. So I'm Polish. So my inheritance is Poland. I've got a child who is Argentinian. His father is Argentinian. There's a mixture of possibly Italian, maybe Italian, I don't know, Spanish and native Argentinian. Just like I have natives, Brazilians, Chileans, and so on. So that's his inheritance. But obviously his father is not in our life. So yes. So I don't believe, like, also, like, for example, I grew up in Germany and I don't believe I have any rights to Germany, but this is politics. I mean, I've got a German passport, but I feel like I'll always be a guest there, a second-class citizen, the same like here in England. I'm grateful to be in this country, but I'm not from England. I don't see myself as having the same rights as English people. And so I would not like to like impose myself on that. But obviously, politically speaking, this is all like equal, and this is of Satan. When I was living in south of France and I just had some extra time, I went to apply for work in Monaco, just like for a weekend, so in some hotel. They told me that, well, first we give the work to Monegasque people, then the French, then the Italians, then the Spanish. So I was number 5, and I was totally fine with it. I didn't have problems with that. I believe that's how countries should serve their people. But of course, today they're gonna just call it fan racism. I can't understand people like that. I never will. They're just of the devil unless they're deceived and they see that and they're like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, definitely I'm not a leftist, definitely in that respect. So yeah, Henry Kissinger again, he's still alive. I believe there's pictures of him with Hitler, and so yeah, so it's like, this is so obvious anyway.
Basically the impeachment of Donald Trump. The same Jews, same political Jews, are calling for the 25th Amendment to be called on right away.
Okay, anyway, they do talk a lot of good stuff here. Okay, Donald Trump is Jewish, and Ivanka didn't convert to Judaism because someone like Jared Kushner, who is a Jew, he will never take a non-Jew woman because the children of a non-Jew are considered worthless. They're not in the club. So Ivanka was already Jewish. Her mother is Jewish. Now, yeah, she's from somewhere Slovakia or Czechoslovakia, where is she from? But her bloodline is Jewish. Yeah? Which, again, could be false Jewish, because if her mother is Jewish and her father not, then I don't think she's Jewish. But they consider this Jewish. So I believe this is something of Satan, the way they see that. And of course, many Jewish people, they can believe in this ignorantly. That doesn't mean they are of Satan. But yeah, so Ivanka was basically Jewish already before. And Donald Trump is Jewish as well. It just reminds me of Grace Kelly, who was half Irish and half Jewish, half officially half German. Yeah, they're not gonna say Jewish. So her mother was Jewish by her mother, and I think German by her father. But Grace Kelly's father was Irish. I'm not sure if he was Irish Jewish. So in my opinion, Grace Kelly wasn't Jewish. If her father was Irish, she was a Gentile. But because her mother and her mother's mother was Jewish, she was considered a Jew and obviously chosen as the wife of Rainier. She wasn't Jewish by the mother, she would never be chosen. They meant to choose Marilyn Monroe, but she was, I think, not fertile, and also she had too many scandals. But then they took Grace Kelly. So they chose her as the wife. So yeah, just for me, it's like Jewish children are by Jewish father, not mother. Okay, another thing he said, Jacob Prash.
Because, this was the worst thing that's ever happened to the U.S. They say this is terrible. We have a dictator, and he needs to be deposed. And of course, they're using the big tech companies. Big tech crackdown, Jacob. You were emailing yesterday. I was emailing yesterday because it was just an onslaught of people being deplatformed, tech companies doing this, Twitter, Facebook.
Okay, it's running too long. I just wanted to see if Draco Prash is going to say something. Okay, another thing I wanted to say. He mentioned in the beginning of the video, this is now 25 minutes, in the first 5 minutes or 7, about Candace Owens. Yes, amazing girl, really like her. I always say thank God for people like her. I have to look more into her, into who her parents were or her grandfather. I believe her grandfather had a big influence on her. She's very much into strong leader man. She's not a feminist. There's lots of things, amazing girl, but there's this thing about her running for the president. And don't get me wrong, yeah, I'm not being here anti racist because she's black. Well, actually she looks to me like she's a mixed race anyway. So and I'm not a woman hater, but a woman is not to rule, usurp a man. So Jacob Rush is saying some nice things about Candace Owen, and he says, yeah, I hope she's gonna run for president. It's like, first of all, as a Jewish man, come on, you know that there is a order with God, there is a order, not disorder. Yeah, disorder is from, order is chaos and it's from Satan. Yeah, order is with God, from God. So it's God of a man, man of a woman, woman of a children, yeah? A woman is not wiser than man. A woman is not to rule a man, okay? That doesn't mean a woman is stupid, but that's how it is. So when I hear men, and so many men and white men saying like, oh, Candace Owen run for next president, I just feel like I'm gonna throw up. I just feel so sad at the same time. What has happened to the men? It's like, okay, he could have said it just like, like sometimes when I make videos, I say things and I listen later. I'm like, oh, I could have said this better. I sound like I'm a bit, like I have speech problem, or I'm a bit retarded. It's just like, it's not easy to speak, especially when you start to speak, you're not used to it. And I say too much, like that happens a lot. I actually, when I was listening to my last video, I couldn't believe it, how many I say there. And that reminds me of this girl I listened to, Laura from Bruderhof. A lot of people complain about her, but it's just the way she speaks, and I've noticed that, and I find it so irritating. And then I'm listening to my video, and I'm like, oh dear me, but I leave it now. It's like we cannot control this in a way. It's a process, a learning process. I think it's like it's experience and so on. So yeah, he might have just said it like, he probably didn't mean to. Because come on, how can you mean that? How can you mean that? America belongs to the natives of America, the Indians, yes? Now, obviously, we have the white men that went there. Now, by white men, I mean, I don't mean as such as a white man, because white men are Gentiles and they're not that smart like the Jews. So Christopher Columbus, I believe he was Jewish. So the Jews control everything. They're smart, and with them expect the best that they can do in the world and also the worst. It's a fact. So it's like the same with slave ships. Look the names: Samuel, Jacob. It just is common sense that everything belongs to the Jews, and there's quite a few smart black women that talk about this as well, because they're so sick of blaming the whites for just being white. So yes, so America, it's supposed to be a white man's land. So and they've built the country, well, the Jews actually, yeah, with the white. But well, okay, people can say that the black slaves have like long time ago built the country. But look, if I let's say work for the queen as a domestic, yeah, that doesn't mean that if I work, let's say if I happen to live 120 years old, 120, and I started to work there as a 15-year-old girl, and I almost worked there 100 years, that doesn't mean I have any inheritance, I have any rights to the palace. So wherever you are as a slave, like the Jews were in Egypt, they don't have any rights to the land. You were just a slave or a worker. If you're a worker, you just do your work, you get paid, you pay your taxes, but that's it. You don't have any rights to the land. So yes, the land was built by, I believe, by the Jews and by the white people, because they were the starters of everything. So the architects, the inventors. So it is a white man's land. So I believe a white man should rule there. But definitely not a woman, whether a white woman or black woman, no go. That's definitely no go. Yeah. It's like I feel the same way in Africa. It should be the people, the native people ruling there, not white people. Now, of course, Africa has been really done, right, left, and center. But again, we know who is the greedy one, yeah? We know who is the one that loves money, yeah? Again, I say Gentiles are not smart enough to basically do those things. They can work for somebody, but they're not smart enough to do things at that scales that basically the synagogue of Satan, the Zionists, do.